Yeesh. She's a peach. Hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, I couldn't resist. It's a mini truck, Daihatsu. And Toyota bought them, I think, in 2017. And Japanese Islands runs around with a bunch of these small trucks. I think they have a different classification for them. They have to be under a certain size, under a certain horsepower, etc., etc. And some of them are making over the United States now. And this one's no different. Actually, this one's actually a little different than what you would normally see because it is a left-hand drive, not a right-hand drive. Got extended cab, high roof. Yeah, believe it or not, that's extended cab and a high roof. Let's go check it out. So the backstory on it was a carpenter took it in on trade and never got it running. They were gonna go fix it up. Never did anything with it. Probably had it for 6-8 months and then put it on Facebook Marketplace. It was on there for quite a while to the point where the price got down to my price range. And I was looking at side-by-sides. Side-by-sides are getting stupid expensive. You really can't find anything under 8,000 bucks for a side-by-side off-road vehicle. And I thought this might be a fairly decent machine for serving that same purpose. The gates drop down all the way around, kind of like my VW truck does. These drop down all the way around. Missing the seats. It looks like it's got a bunch of funky stuff going on. Not quite sure what's happening there. So I suspect more of the same. When we were there, I just wanted to make sure that the engine spun. So the only thing I have done to it so far was I tried grabbing the pulley and turning the engine. I could not do that. I hooked a jumper pack up to the starter and it just clunked, would not do anything. So we went and got a wrench, put it on the engine, rocked the engine back and forth. And it did turn a little bit, went back to putting power to the starter, and we spun it for about 10 seconds. So that's where we are. Other than that, you know about as much of it as I do. So without further ado, let's see if we can thaw this thing out. First of all, I'm gonna let it sit in the heat here a little bit. Maybe go grab a cup of coffee because it's 10 degrees out. Does it show? And maybe we'll put some air in the tires. Maybe it'll fit on the lift. And we'll get it up and kind of give it an assessment, see what we got. And hopefully get the thing fired up. If not, figure out what's wrong with it. Can't even help me push, you know. Well, it's light, I'll give it that. Let's get a better look at it now that we are not constrained by the squeeziness of the trailer. I guess as far as the bed's concerned, we're going to have to wait till the snow melts. See what kind of condition that's in. It looks like it's got a brush bar in the front of it. A little cleaning up, a hubcap. I see a tie strap. And as far as the inside, like I said, I know it was missing the seats. And I think the seats are kind of like a conformed pan that fits to those openings. Yeah, there's the adjustable. Actually, I saw it was adjustable. We put that on the pulley again to see if we can get the engine to turn, and it did. But you can tell it's been sitting a long while where the rust of the belt was on the pulley and where it got turned. A little 3-cylinder gas engine. Looks like it's on its side pretty good, huh? Again, this being an extended cab, this space would not be here. Bungee cords, dual visors, headliner, dirty dash, nothing in the glove box. It's a Daihatsu Hijet, no AC. I don't know what it has for a trans. He never had it running, so he wasn't able to figure that out. I don't know if it's a 4-speed. It's got some kind of weird... I thought it had a diff lock because it has neutral and Dina. You tell me what you think that one is. He was thinking maybe a reverse, but I don't see any cable going to the rear end, to the rear differential, that would make that a locking diff. And again, it's only 2-wheel drive, so that's another thing that's got against it. They don't rust terribly because of the climate I guess they come from, compared to New England, everything that's rotted out here. My only fear is that there's something terminally ill with it and somebody robbed the interior out of it for another one. But again, that's just a guess on my part. We're gonna go figure that out. Let's go chalk up the wheels and put it up in the air real quick, and we'll take a quick peek underneath, see if there's anything that stands out that's life-threatening. Alright, let's go see. That rack is funny, huh? It's on an angle going across. It's different. And it's mounted in the center position. I wonder if it's for left and right hand drive. They just kind of made it where you could maybe flip it from this location to this one. Get rid of them. Wiring looks good. That's probably for fog lights. Drum brakes. Radiator looks kind of punky. That's got some corrosion looking stuff going on it. That looks like maybe in a repair right there. Some lead in it. Look how far that angles, that engine's on. It's like a Mopar 225 slant 6. Cooling line. Somebody's got a patch there. That doesn't look factory. They probably sprung a leak and so we put a hose clamp around it. Hopefully it doesn't have straight water in it. Again, I haven't even looked at it, but whatever damage was done was already done because this thing was out in the frozen weather. Bottom of the bed doesn't look bad. I don't see a bunch of rot. Again, I don't think these things really had that much of an issue unless they've been here their whole life. I have no idea what the story is behind this one. Leaf springs, got a helper spring on the bottom. Shackles. Gas tank doesn't look terrible. Not dented anyway. Got a beefy back bumper. Aftermarket tires on it. I think these things came with 12-inch rims. Air canister. Kind of looks like a VW starter. Might be. Yeah, I guess in Japan they run these over there, and they fall. There's like a different classification of vehicle. They have to be under a certain size and horsepower. And I think 10-foot max. And these, that's where all the trucks kind of look the same. There's a Suzuki. I'm not gonna remember the names of them all. There's a bunch of them. Honda Acti. That looks like it was brazed right there, doesn't it? That's probably the dipstick. No hood to open on it. Some of them have a little access panel in the back of the bed. Let's go see if we can see anything from the bottom. I don't see anything to you. Maybe this one being the extended cab. You have most of the access through the cab. No, I don't see anything ridiculously bad under here. Battery hangs here. What's that thing? The distributor. I guess you got to put up on the lift to change the cab. My guess is the person probably had it before. It sat next to, I think it was sitting next to the garage. They were doing repairs on a garage, modification, or built a garage, and this was sitting next to it. And he wanted add-ons and more stuff after the garage was done, and they made a trade for the truck. This is a story I got. They made a trade for the truck for the extras. I think some windows put in or something. And then he just never did anything with it. So it was not running at that property. This guy that I got it from, he never had it running. Took a hit or something right here. Whatever that is, rotted out. That's probably where the push bar went. So we could have stories, or it could fire right up. I would suspect fuel issues, but again, we'll figure that out. And weird setup going with these lug nuts, huh? What's with these super long studs? They're a weird bolt pattern. They're a 110, 4x110, which I think is four-wheeler. Runs that size. And I think some early, like those aren't factory wheels. What are those? They look like a man. They look like Mazda. ARC-7, XR7, ARC-7. I think some early Toyotas, like 70s Toyotas, 4-lug had that same pattern. All right, let's go drop it back down on the ground, start looking in the engine bay, and put a battery to it, check fluids, and see what we got. It's looking pretty mucky and pretty full. Let's see what we get on a rewipe. Yeah, it's over full and very dark. So hopefully that wasn't done for some sort of engine noises, right? Where is the coolant? Let's see if we can find. I'm gonna check the coolant right there. Let's go on the other side. Pop that open. I see nothing. Yeah, judged by what we saw down below, I'm not surprised at that. But I'd rather have nothing in it than coolant, especially if she's beat. Let's, I don't know, are we able to go test fuel anywhere? Is that the fuel line right there? Maybe we can crack, maybe we can take the line off right there. Stick it in a jar. I already, like I said, I already put the jumper pack on. It was dry. If I had to do it again, I definitely put oil in the cylinders because it turned really slow. But maybe we'll go put power to it and see if we can get some fuel samples out of it. I wonder what the parts availability is on these. Kind of like a gray market. Gray market is stuff they made, but stuff that was not made for that country. Just like gray market tractors and all. So parts in that country can be hard to come by. Strong power. Let's go see what turned on. The headlights are on, that's what's on. How do we... What controls that? Not that. Oh, there. Alright, let's the wipers are on. Well, stuff works. That's pretty good. Let's grab the light, bring it inside. And I forgot what we're looking for. We're gonna go see for fuel. So let's go make sure she still cranks. And we'll listen to it for a second. Nothing. I thought it was... Hit the wipers again. Something like up here, the lever. We did that before and we were having an issue. Try that. Nope. Did I push the clutch pedal in? I don't think so. I don't think safety was the middle name on this. Ah! Yeah, maybe it's the clutch pedal. I lost it. Push the clutch and wiggle our way in there. Right have to turn the wipers on. Yeah, it's kind of like I was doing the first time too. I think that's battery connection. Would you give me a second? I'm going to go clean those up a little bit with a wire wheel. Get us a good connection. Let's try it again. I gotta get the clutch. You pain in the ass. Come on now. Now you're just screwing with me. Which one is it? I cleaned them both. Let's try it again. The compression strokes sound good. You know, the it sounds like each cylinder's got compression. That's good. Alright. It's got a gas gauge. See if there's even anything in it. It's saying empty. Also got battery light, and I don't know what that one is. Oil pressure. Be the next one. Yeah. Top speed is 20. Yeah, so this is a US import one of those low speed. And what I think they did, a little bit of homework online, I think they lock out like third and fourth gear or fourth and fifth gear, but you can adjust them in the transmission. I guess there's some kind of just, you know, it's a regular transmission, they just kind of override it. Again, I still don't know what that setup is. All right, let's get that fuel line off of there and give her a crank and see if we can get something coming out of it. And you think 17? 17. Nice, there's no fuel in it, but see a bunch of fuel line patches, and we can get a cup next to it and give her a crank. I put a piece of wood, but a clutch pedal. I should be able to crank it from here. It's getting faster. Alright, yeah, we're not getting anything. I don't know if it's got an electric fuel pump, mechanical fuel pump, or just no fuel in it at all. Let me take a quick look and see how hard it is to get the plugs out of it. I probably should have done that first, but no shock slow. That's already loose. Looks like it's loose and missing a clamp. You just want to go for it? You want to try shooting a little fuel in the carb and see if it'll go? Yeah, I know you do. So do I. I say we just try to bottle feed it a little bit while it's cranking, see if we can draw some in. See if we can open that throttle. I don't want the tube to hold the throttle open, have it rev real high on itself. Alright, let's see what we get. Nothing. We'll give her a little spray like ether. We'll try that. If we don't get anything from there, then we know we got no spark. A little ether. Help get it in the hole. That would be a nada. All right, we gotta go check for spark, which I think we don't have any of. Let's go get a spark plug out of it and start looking at that. On the other side of the machine again. Get that out of there. So you can get just another plug. We'll shove that in there and hold it up against the block. And we are looking right there. Let's go. Crazy if anything. Got spark. Got spark. All right. Surprised. I thought we were not going to get anything. I thought we would have got a little cough out of it, put some fluid down it, but again, it may have issues of other avenues. Jump timing chain or whatever it's got for that setup too, you know. Let's try, well, we know we don't have any fuel. I don't know if we want to pull that carb off altogether to take a look at the bowl. It's a little bit more into it. Let's go pop over the other side and see if we can see if we can access a float bowl. Yeah. So it looks like this chamber right here is the float bowl. And there's a throttle. I'm going to try giving it a little bit of throttle. I'm going to put the plug wire back on it one more shot and just give it one more shot with some throttle, let it get some air and see if we get it to cough. Kind of look at the gas pedal. What do you think that is? Just to hold the fast idle. It's not a choke. It's kind of a weird. So how do you work that? I don't know. We'll worry about that later. Let's just give her some gas with our foot and give her a crank. I'd like to be able to crank it while I'm springing it, but we're just gonna have to deal with. Come on, give me something. That should be enough just for a cough again. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. At least we know it tried to go fire. I'm happy with that. Now we can start digging. Just for shits and giggles, I'm gonna go try it. Now I can work the gas pedal. And you're in a stand, we can try to kind of feed it, see if she'll go. That's gonna run the battery down. What are you thinking? That should go on that. Maybe we should pull a plug and we'll see what they look like. Again, somebody's been in here. All the plug wires are out of the loom on the other side. These tins were removed, and I would definitely suspect somebody has been in here for, what is that? What is that supposed to be, a choke? Yeah. So that's choke open. Let's try it like that in case it's getting too much. Getting choked off too much. Try it one more time. Yep. Yeah, definitely been meatballed around, probably getting harder and harder to start. Let's go yank a plug out of it real quick and see what we get. See what we're working with. Yeah, we're back underneath it. Definitely looks like somebody put new plugs in it. That's what we're looking at right there. Not saying that they're all fouled out, but they definitely put new plugs in. I'm hoping that, you know, the no coolant in it didn't blow a head gasket, but you kind of hear it in the compression. Let's go pull a plug out instead of just kind of surmising, see what we actually are working with. Do you ever get the feeling somebody's been in here before you? Where my hand is, this bracket. Looks like there was a skid plate here. And it was taken off. And I have a feeling it was taken off because they were having a problem with it. And that's why it was parked. You know, to some reason, you know. Very rarely that. So I'm just, I got sick of using it. Stopped using it. It does happen, but generally it has something that's wrong with it. I wouldn't say it's wet. I don't know if that's from us. I didn't put much fuel in it. Very little. Gap looks a little big. I'm going to try pulling the three of them. We'll clean them up real quick. Maybe we'll spin it with nothing in it. Kind of clear out the cylinders. We'll put them back in. We should probably check those for spark too, you know. We'll put one of those in. We'll crank it when we're back up top. But let me get the three of them out. Clean them up. And if any of them are really funky, I'll show you. Especially like one comes out, looks like it's steam cleaned. That's never a good sign. So this is the first one we took out, which is the one that's already to the front. I probably call that number 1 cylinder, which it probably is. Number 2 and number 3. You know, you can see the rust and crud that is on this one, so that's not a good sign. That one right there. I say we got the plugs out. We should probably just do a compression test and make sure it sounded okay. You know, it sounded like the cylinder was trying to fire. But while we have them out, let's go do a compression test and see if there's anything funky going on. The other thing I was thinking too is I wonder if somebody put the plugs. So I was doing a tune-up and got 2 of the plug wires wrong, and it was only trying to kick on 1 cylinder, which is what it kind of sounded like. All right, let's go through a compression test. All right, because we're working by ourselves under the vehicle to do a compression test, I got a starter button hooked up to it, and all I did was, this is the signal. This is the signal wire coming down from the ignition switch to crank the starter. This has power. This is the hot lead coming from the battery. So I'm just jumping from that terminal to that terminal. And the only interruption is the button. Should crank. When I do that, I need to open it full throttle so air can come in. Let me block the gas pedal up too. Alright, it's full throttle. I ended up putting a battery on it and a battery charger. Give us our best bet. Let's see what number 1 cylinder has. Oh no, that's not good. Funny part is that it has that same kind of sound to it, even with the plugs out of it. You know, that what I thought was compression, it might be your issue. She might be done cooked. I would think it probably has mechanically adjusted valves, but without going there, let's go do the other 2 cylinders, and hopefully we get one of them that registered to make sure our setup is still working. And number 2, you figure one of them's got to have something on it because it was trying to fire on 1 cylinder, so there has to be a little something happening with the one, right? I don't think it's that one. You're getting absolutely nothing. I'm gonna go put my finger over the edge right there. See if I feel any puffing. Nope. All right, let me go try the last one. Boy, it sure is starting to rain under here. That was thawing out. Let's see if we get anything on number 3. That's unusual to get nothing across. I'm going to go try another compression tester and see if we're having an issue with that. I changed out the end that screws into the block. Got a check valve on there. There we go. But that's why it wasn't registering. It's so low. What is that? That is 60 psi. At least it's something. All right. Now let's go check the other 2. Next, number 2. Yeah, 40, not good. And number 3. 25, 20. So yeah, that's why the first round where it wasn't working. There wasn't even enough compression to go past the, where's that hose? I'll show you in a second. Yeah, if you can see in the center of that right there. So that's got a Schrader valve inside it, which is like a tire valve. and that one does not. So this is the first style we were going with was like this, and it wasn't even enough to overcome the Schrader valve to push it down to give any compression coming out. And here's one with one removed. Compression, you probably need like 100 psi, at least 80. 80 is kind of like the bottom. I don't know on this engine if it has any kind of decompression valve or anything like that. I don't know any history on these whatsoever, but this one is definitely having some issues. It is raining down underneath here. All right, valve cover. Our next thing is probably to check, see if we have tight valves so we can recoup anything. I don't know if it's better to try to reach from the top. We're probably gonna go back up there just because it's drier. I mean, it's literally showering down on us down here, and you know, cameras and water don't play well together. So let's go back up there and see if we get that valve cover off of there and see if we can find any tight valves. Sorry about the background noise, but I got the heat going to be turning on and the battery charger will be humming. So it looks like 1, 2, probably 4 screws hold that valve cover on, and we can kind of crank her over. We just got to grab the rockers. I don't know what it has underneath there. Hopefully it's got rockers. I don't think it's an overhead cam. We're gonna go find out. Let's go get those screws out and see what we got to work with. Yeah. Overhead cam. Hope it's not shims. It's a tight squeeze for all of us. We'll do our best to fit in here. See if we can get this thing to, we can get under it or behind it. Tap it with a couple of love taps. Price has a bit off since it was new. What surprises hide? Oh, good. They're adjustable. That's good. Doesn't look terribly dirty neither. Let's bump the key for a second. Just eyeball stuff. It's kind of dry. I would think we'd see some oil down in there, you know. Yeah, let's see what we got. Oh, I got the wire off. I can't. Let's see if we see anything that looks. I gotta go grab the bump start. Can I reach it from here? Let me go get it. Let's go give her a little spin. Just check each one, see if I find anything that's let's get clearance. Again, this is just quick and dirty. That one's good. That one's good. Alright, so one thing that's got me a little concerned, that oil level was high. And the fact that we can't see coolant, maybe it had water in it sometime in its lifetime. And I wonder if somebody either cracked and it froze and it kind of filled the crankcase up with water and with the oil floats on top, so you won't see it on the dipstick, but it'll make the level really high. I don't see any generally when that happens though, you'll see like in the cylinder head, it'll be like all this foamy creamy kind of color, you know, it's like you know, frothed up coffee. I don't see any of that. The other thing is too, it could be just from it sitting that the rings possibly, but the valves could have stuff kind of around the edges of them that are like rusty and cruddy, and it just needs to run a little bit, and they'll spin that crap off and get a little bit better seal. You could shoot some oil down the cylinders, that would not hurt things, and kind of let that splash around, see if it kind of comes back. Again, when I went to first go crank this at the property, it wouldn't even turn with the starter, and then I ended up putting that adjustable on it, and I was able to just to get a little bit of movement out of it, and then it kind of went through, and I was able to get a full circle out of it, put the jumper pack back on it, and it was able to it was able to spin around, and it was slower, and then it kind of picked up speed. So I'm still not sure what's going on, but we'll figure it out one way or another. Could be that it's cooked and tired, you know.
And I know people are going to be in the comments adding it, so I might as well jump in. You can do what's called a leak down test. So you take kind of pretty much that same spark plug compression tester without the plug in it, and you put like 25 psi in, and you push it backwards. And what that does is it'll leak, and you have the one of the, the cylinders with the valve closed, and it's either going to leak through the intake valve, the exhaust valve, or the oil fill. And you'll know if it's leaking by a ring, if it's leaking by an intake valve, or it's leaking by an exhaust valve. And again, we can do that, but we'll get there. Let's just spin it for a couple of seconds with nothing. The battery charger's on it, so that's good. There's no plugs in it, so there's no compression. Let's just go spin it a little bit. I want to see if we get some oil flow coming to that top end. I see that the cam looks pretty wet down below, but I'm not seeing, like, I would think we'd start seeing some oil kind of like pissing out of the rockers at some point, and we're not getting any of that. I think that rocker is loose. You know what? That bolt's different too. That bolt's different from that, but I'm watching right here. I don't know if you can see it. I see like the oil in the gap there is kind of like opening and closing. You see it? Right there? I don't know if the camera's far enough. Let me get you closer. Let's throw a wrench on the heads of those bolts. Again, that has like metal deposits coming off of it, and it's a different bolt, like it's snapped off or something. Something's a little odd right there. I also wonder if the maybe that is the one for the oil feed. Maybe that's what feeds the rocker assembly. One of them will be like a pass-through bolt, be hollow on the inside, and that's the passage that fills it. I would think they would use one of the bosses though. Looks like a 12 or a 13 to you. I'm gonna go with, I'm gonna go with 12. 12. Just gonna make sure that this is the one I suspected right here. It's kind of look weird. It's tight. Let's go see why that one's different. Let's go pop that out of there and see if that's the case. If that has a hollow center, and why all that funky looking color is around it. Oil's pissing out of it. That might be the case. It looks like there's 3 per 4 per rocker shaft. And the other ones, other goofy ones are just for the valve cover. That's why they're different. Let's see if that has a hole in the center of it. No. That just looks weird compared to all the other ones, right? I kind of want to crank it without it in there, but I don't want to crack. Screw it. Let's just go. You can see if oil was going to go pump through that. I'm still searching for clues, you know, just trying to figure out what's kind of happening. That's why I'm like kind of jumping at some obvious stuff that I'm seeing. Kind of want to drain the oil. that overfilled oil has got me questioning again, and no antifreeze that was in there. It just has me kind of iffing it. It's not going to hurt anything for us to go do that, so let's go purge that out. I decided to jump over to a leak down test because it's drier up here. I got 25 psi. It may spin the motor. But let's go see if you can hear. Where it's coming out of. Sounds like it's going around the rings. I got my hand over the intake right now. Let me see how this stands. So you would feel it. It's the intake valve coming out of the carburetor, the exhaust is going to be coming out of the muffler, and oil going past the rings, it would be coming through the valleys up here. I think that's what's happening. There's nothing coming out of the cooling system. Let's go check the muffler real quick. I think it's going to be rings. On that cylinder anyway. Exhaust a little. Yeah, you can hear it. Okay. Let's go try another cylinder. We're starting to see what's in the bed. Hide that. That looks like a little access plate right there. I guess on the regular cab is probably more prominent. What's that? Tool set. Must be the toolkit that comes with it. Parts can give us an idea of what was happening with it. That probably looks like a wheel bearing, maybe. That's what I was thinking, like on the valve cover would look on the rocker assembly. That would be like the pass-through bolt I was talking about for the oil. So, what else is here? Those are probably just for the cover. Like forensic evidence. Okay. Nothing, we'll let her melt down a little bit more. It's an idler pulley. I don't think that's for this though. It looks like it's got thrown in from something else. I don't think that hubcap's from it. 5-lug hubcaps and a 4-lug. No more goodies. We got number 3 cylinder, which is the one that had the lowest compression. Let's go see what that one does for us. Uh-oh, that's not good. There's our problem. So, that's the one that had the spark plug that was funky. It's got antifreeze in it. That's what it is, blown head gasket. Well, it's at least a blown head gasket. Could be cracked something, you know, who knows what is happening with this. Well, at least we're kind of zeroing in on what's going on. Let's go drain that oil out of it now. I have a feeling we're going to get a bunch of coolant coming out of there. Well, hopefully it's just a little overfilled with oil. We gotta find out. And the water will more than likely be on the bottom, so.
No, it's weird that the stick was so dirty. That's odd. Wait a minute. We're getting... I don't know if that's yellow water or antifreeze or... Yeah. We'll find out in a second when we pull that out of there. I think that's exactly what it is. I think it's oil and antifreeze. Not positive right yet though. What's that look like? I think that's water. Yeah. That's why the antifreeze was low. So blew a head gasket will crack your head, something along those lines. I think head gaskets are available. I don't think that part would be so hard to come by. So I may try and order a head gasket before we take it apart. Make sure we can get one. And I don't know if we gotta, I don't know if we could work with the engine in there. I don't know how much of a pain in the ass it is to get it out of there. You know, it looks like it's got, you got to drop it from the bottom. Yeah. It was fine when parked, right? Ran fine when parked. Thing must have been running like a steam Jenny. They went and put new plugs in it, tried to get it to run. And it wasn't having it. And it just got to the point where it just got worse. I don't know what's up with that double washer on the plug too. All right. Oh, the oil should be on top like we said. Let's see. Put that on the bench, get an idea. And we'll come up with a battle plan. I don't have much money in this thing. So, only a couple things I have too. I know I have that little, I think it's gonna be too low a horsepower. I got that, that little 2-cylinder diesel. I wanted to go put something in. But we'll see. Let's go pour off what's in that pail. I kind of see through the side. It looks like it's definitely separated again. It'll tell us. It's hard to kind of, yeah. You can see the antifreeze in the bottom. I don't know if there's a way we can kind of like scoop off the top and leave the rest behind, but yeah, there it is. That's not good. Now, it's kind of a good thing we didn't get it running because that would have sucked up all that through the oil pump and everything. All right. Steer, Ike. All right, guys. Well, with that, I was hoping to get much further along than what we did, but it is what it is, right? I'm going to try ordering a head gasket for it. We'll pull the head off, and I want to have that on hand just so we can kind of move forward with it. And if we find that, you know, it's cracked and junked and the engine's trashed, it's not worth me putting that much effort into this. Is not, I would prefer, they have 4-wheel drive ones. They got them with dump beds and diff locks and all kinds of stuff. So I'd probably rather spend the money more along those lines and fix one of them up than this. But again, this one is cheap enough to give it a shot. And again, you roll the dice and sometimes it's what you come up with. What's that? I don't think it was made in USA. Just saying. It is definitely a US spec though, because it's got miles per hour on the speedo and the left-hand drive. And again, like I said, who knows what we do in the future. I'm going to try ordering the head gasket for it. I got the parts coming in for the Honda 4-wheeler, so I'm probably going to be jumping back and forth between the two videos, just how, you know, things are working out as far as parts showing up. And you know, other things I was kind of thinking of, I was looking at real quick. Could we get an air-cooled? Can we get an air-cooled VW engine in there? I don't have the light. Hold on one sec. So it kind of looks like it would have the room for it. That fan shroud housing might be able to come up through here. Those not familiar with a VW engine, I'll show you one real quick. But I would think so. I don't know if that's more trouble than it's worth, again, till we find out if this engine is salvageable or not, and then, you know, what's behind that bell housing, how that stuff would line up, would that work or not, or, you know, just start digging a hole trying to do all that kind of crap. I also got that little diesel, which I'm trying to run it around at 25 miles an hour, should be fine. I don't think it was much horsepower, I think it's like 12. I think these are, I think they're 40 horse. Can't be much more than that. So we'll see. Unanswered. Anybody know what the deal is with that? Has a D and N, and I don't know what the top lever is for. High and low range? Be my guess. I would think reverse would be on the shifter, not a lever that you flip, but who knows. So here's one, that little single cylinder diesel that ran nice. Again, it's liquid cooled, so that thing already has a cooling system set up on it. You can try to tap into that. I don't know how well we can hook a drivetrain up to the end of that. I'll show you a VW engine. Should be something like that one. Here's a VW engine, all dressed up and kind of ready to rock and roll. I got this for another project, but you can kind of see the layout of it and where that fan shroud would have to protrude up through that rear opening. Possibly that can line up, and who knows what kind of clutch setup would fit in there. I don't have the interest of that. And then from a year or two back, a couple years back, is this little baby Kubota that was in I think it was in a reefer unit that was in a scrapyard. There's the radiator from it, and that one ran pretty good too. So it would be under horsepower. I don't know what it has for bell housing, accessories, and until we, just all options, weighing through my imagination. Alright, so here's what I surmised happened after kind of doing our homework and seeing what we found. When we were first looking underneath, we saw that little metal elbow that had the piece of rubber hose with the clamp around it. I think that was the original failure. I think it lost coolant. They ran it, overheated it with no coolant. Said, okay, found the leak, found that it was low on coolant. They put coolant in it, patched that leak, fired it up, and it probably ran like a steam jetty and started running crappier and crappier and crappier, to the point where it just was getting hard starting. That's where you saw that little cable connected to the choke. Instead of it just being on the automatic choke, they were probably, just getting really low on compression, because the cylinder, my guess is it's crossing across all three of them. I might think the compression's jumping from one cylinder to the next. Due to a crack, just blown head gasket. We don't know until we take that apart. But at that point, just gave up. It was getting too hard to start. Put new plugs in it. Kind of went through the tune-up stuff. Got lost on it, and then just gave up. That guy gave up, and then the guy who did the contractor work on the building made a bid for it for whatever reason. He grabbed it. I don't think he really kind of ever did anything with it. And then I came along and grabbed it. So that's where we are. So got it cheap enough. It is what it is. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Was I hoping to have this thing, firing up and running, and us doing donuts in the parking lot in the snow? Sure. Running those horns, but it just didn't turn out that way. So like I said, over to the head gasket, and I don't want to put too much more into it than that. It's just not worth it to me. Possibly we kind of screw with throwing other engines in it and that kind of thing. It is able to be registered, street legal in New Hampshire, so it can be run around. I think they call them like low-speed vehicles. I think you're not supposed to be able to do over 30 or something with them. Kind of a classification for them, which is nice if you want to, run the little back roads, but you're not going to, take it down on a road that's got 45-mile-an-hour zones. But that's the idea that we were looking for, a side-by-side for the camp, and that's why I was chasing one of these guys. Oh well. Hopefully we'll see it again when the head gasket stuff comes in, and hopefully this will be the next video back on the Honda when the engine parts come in, which should be another 4 or 5 days, and that's why I jumped over to that thing. Hopefully one of these two will come back to life, but that'll be on a different video, not this one. All right guys, thanks for hanging out with me. Have a little bit of wrenching fun, and I'll see you soon. Later.